Hello, this is my presentation on how moving pictures came about. In this first part, I'll be talking about early moving pictures and the devices that helped to create such images. So to start with, I'll talk about the first images to be produced to a large audience of people. This is done by using a magic lantern. It consisted of a translucent oil painting and a simple lamp. In a darkened room, the image would appear projected onto an adjacent flat surface. People used to project pictures of otherworldly people or demons to make people think that they were lucky to see something as amazing as a magic lantern. Then a thaumatrope arrived. A thaumatrope is a piece of card or cardboard that is cut to make a circle and is suspended on either side with pieces of string. On either side you have a picture. For example, you could have a cage on one side and a bird on the other, so that when you spun the disc around, it looked like the bird was in the cage. After that came the zoetrope. It was a device where a series of pictures were drawn on the inside of a circular instrument. The circular instrument had some slits in it, so that when you spin it around, the slit starts to merge into one and a moving picture is created. Then came the paranomoscope. It combined the cylindrical design of the zoetrope with a viewing mirror of the paranomoscope. Mirrors were mounted still in the centre of a circle, and then a disc with the pictures on were placed at the bottom, so that the picture was reflected up onto the mirrors. Then there was a little viewing hole, so that when you looked through it and you spun the disc around, a moving picture could be seen. Next, I want to talk to you about some of the influential people within the film and media world, starting with the first man to take a picture to the Lumiere brothers, who created the first device that combined printer, camera and projector into one. In 1826 or 1827, the first photograph was taken. It was taken by Nicephore Niépce, and it shows the view from one of the upstairs windows of his house. The picture represents the origin of today's pictures, films and other media. Then Edward Muybridge took picture taking to the next level by taking a series of shots that shows a horse in motion, and when played together continuously, it makes it look like the horse is moving. Even though it uses only picture, he did this for a bet to see if at any point in the race did the horse's feet leave the ground. Now I'm going to show you my example of an Edward Muybridge video. Then the Lumieres came about. In 1881, Louis Lumiere developed a new dry plate process. He did this at the age of 17, and it became known as the Étiquette Bleue process, and a factory was built soon after for the manufacture of palettes. By 1894, the Lumieres were producing around 15 million palettes a year. Antonio Lumiere was invited to a demonstration of Edison's peephole kinetoscope in Paris. When he returned, he had an idea. He wanted his sons to create something as good as what he saw, but cheaper and better. The brothers worked through the winter of 1894, Auguste Lumiere making the first experiments. The aim was to overcome the limitations and problems as they saw them of Edison's peephole kinetoscope. By early 1895, the brothers had invented their own device that combined printer, camera and projector. They called it the cinematograph. The first showing that they did was the device of a clip of the workers leaving a factory. They named this short film Workers Leaving the Lumiere Factory. Now I want to talk to you about the differences between things that you may have wondered about before. Like, for example, do you ever wonder what the difference is between film and video? Well, I can tell you. First, a lot more time, effort and money is spent on films than it is on your videos. Film tends to spend a lot more time on audio, both visual sound, sound effects and music. Video, on the other hand, will have a less sophisticated sound to it, as less money and editing stuff will not be as good. Second, film tends to record far more visual information than video does. Both the resolution and the colour are better. Next, what is the difference between analogue and digital? Is that analogue technology information is translated into electronic pulses of varying amplitude. In digital technology, though, translution of information is into binary format, 0 or 1, where each bit is a representative of two distinct amplitudes. Now, in the second part, I'm going to talk to you about storytelling and three people in particular: Georges Méliès, D.W. Griffiths and Levi Kuleshov. First, I'm going to talk to you about George Méliès. He was a revolutionary man who made films using one still camera. A Trip to the Moon is one of his movies, and you'll notice that throughout the movie, the camera stays in one position per scene. It does not move or get close-ups of any of the characters. He also was the first person to use special effects in his film. Now, I'm going to talk to you about D.W. Griffiths. He was the director of the film A Birth of a Nation. It is the first film to use proper shot types and angles, but it is one of the most racist movies ever made. Last of all, I'm going to talk to you about Levi Kuleshov. He explored the idea of people's reactions to actors' expressions. First, he played a picture of some food in a bowl, and then he played an actor's face. After that, he played a picture of a girl lying down in a box. She could be a doll, dead, or asleep. He then played the actor's expression. If you watch closely enough, the actor's face and expression does not change, but you think that it has. Then last of all, he played a clip of a lady lying down in a love seat. When you are then shown his face again, his face and expressions still have not changed. In total, the first time his face appears, you think that he's hungry. The second time he looks sad or content. And the last time it does, you think that he's thinking naughty thoughts. Here is one I made to show another example of it. Now, in this next section, I'm going to be talking to you about shot types and variations. The first shot type I'm going to talk to you about is tilt. Tilt is when the camera moves up and down. Next is pan, and pan is where you move the camera from one side to the other. Next is a bird's eye view. This is when the shot is taken from above, so that the camera is looking down on the subject. Next is a worm's eye view. This shot is the opposite to a bird's eye view, as the shot is taken from the floor, so the camera is looking up at the subject. Next is a long shot. A long shot is a shot where you can see the whole of the subject's body, so you're able to see the movements that they make. Next is a mid shot. A mid shot is a shot that is taken where the subject is framed, so that you can see everything above the waistline to the top of the person's head. Next is a close-up. A close-up is a shot of a person that is framed between their shoulders to the top of their head. The last of all is an extreme close-up. It is a shot of a person or object that is taken very close up. For example, it could just be a view of a person's eye, and this shot would be used to add effect to a scene.